This is Jennifer Markarian, Manufacturing Editor for Pharmaceutical Technology. Today we are looking at issues in parenteral manufacturing, particularly in container closures and in glass packaging. The Parenteral Drug Association has 2 upcoming conferences on these topics. To discuss this, I'm joined by the Container Closure Planning Committee co-chairs, Diane Paskiet, Director, Scientific Affairs, West Pharmaceuticals, and Mihaela Simianu, Research Advisor, Manufacturing Science, Eli Lilly and Company, and also the co-chair of the Glass Packaging Conference Planning Committee, Ronald Iacocca, Senior Research Advisor, Eli Lilly and Company. Thank you all for joining me today. Ron, what do you see as the biggest challenge for industry today regarding packaging of parenteral drugs?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, for several years now, it's been acknowledged that the product that goes into the glass is not simply just sitting there inertly, that it's part of a packaging system. So I would say right now the biggest challenge is determining the criteria to determine that the glass is appropriate for the product that you're going to put in it for patient safety and for patient efficacy.
Excellent point. And so, as you mentioned, glass is the traditional and dominant material for packaging. What are the other key issues that need to be addressed for maintaining quality when using glass packaging?
Well, when you look at the quantities that glass packaging are made under, the millions and millions of containers that are put out by suppliers, one of the key challenges is to ensure that the quality consists throughout the lifetime of that container. And subtle changes in the container quality can result in big changes in product quality. For example, a slight change in glass chemistry could produce an adverse reaction with the liquid. In other words, you could get delamination or you could get certain things. So I would say, consistency throughout the lifetime of the package and reporting any changes that may occur on the supplier end is key. The second item that I would see is key, goes back to what I said before, is to ensure that for the product you're putting in the glass, that it's appropriate under the storage conditions you plan on using.
Okay. And you mentioned glass delamination. Tell us a little bit about the current efforts in analysis, risk detection, and regulation in that area.
Well, let's start with the last one first.
Okay.
The regulations have always been clear that you should not have product interactions with the packaging that contain it. So there's no ambiguity on that at all. It's in the first chapter of the USP, and it continues to be in the first chapter of the USP. In terms of analysis and risk detection, there are some documents out there that kind of speak to what can happen if glass delamination does occur, especially if it gets into veins and arteries. So that's a very undesirable thing. So the risk is clear. It all goes back to the patient safety. We can't put patients at risk because there's a reaction of the product, the package that it's in. In terms of analysis, there's a lot of work being done in this area to see what factors can cause a delamination event, whether it's pH-driven, whether it's temperature-driven, whether it's chemically driven by the product that you're putting into it. It's really kind of a requirement for the innovator pharmaceutical company to show that the product is compatible with what you're putting it in. So there's a lot of testing that needs to go on. If you have a quality system in place with your suppliers, that helps a lot. If you can understand product consistency and what's being done with your supplier to ensure glass quality, that helps a lot. But it's also contingent upon the pharmaceutical company itself that if changes are going to be made, that you test for those changes and that you reestablish that the container is compatible with the product.
Okay, good points, and I'm sure that will be discussed further at the conference. We also wanted to talk about container closure systems, which are the assembled primary packaging components, the container and the closure, that together ensure the desired protection and functionality to store and deliver a product, for example, a vial, a syringe, or a cartridge. Diane, can you share with us what needs to be considered to ensure suitability of the container for the drug product being packaged, and what are some of the quality requirements?
The major attributes for suitability with a pharmaceutical product would consider protection of the drug product from external contaminants, leakage, loss of product, or exposure to conditions that could compromise the drug product. Chemical and physical compatibility are other important attributes for both the packaging system and would also include assurance of drug product quality related to interaction products that may result from contact with packaging materials such as particles, degradation, or precipitation of the drug product constituents. In addition, validation of the physical and functional performance throughout the shelf life is necessary, and especially the impact to patient safety in relation to leachables and extractables. Also involved in package suitability are to consider the important role packaging plays to ensure safe delivery of medicine to the patient. The FDA Administration Safety and Innovation Act has several provisions that are intended to improve the integrity and security of the drug product supply chain. And as the FDA begins to implement these provisions, there's a good chance that innovative packaging systems will play a role in meeting some of these new requirements.
Excellent. Mihaela, can you share with us what are some of the advances being made in designing container closures to eliminate the risk of failures?
Certainly, Jennifer. Well, I think just the application of risk management concepts and the use of failure mode analysis itself in this field of container closure design is an advancement on its own. With that, then risk mitigation approaches for different failure modes have been advanced in several areas, in the areas of materials, in the areas of engineering design, as well as in the area of the processing of those materials. So if we're looking at just materials themselves, in the way the material must fit with the product and the overall packaging application, we advance the way we are actually characterizing and qualifying those material properties. Both Diane and Ron touch a little bit into that. So we have better technologies, we have better methods to look at materials and their interactions and changes over time, as well as understanding how the manufacturing process applied to those materials can be using the quality by design principles in regards to material attributes with their specification, with their critical defects for a parenteral application. If we're looking into the engineering design risk mitigation approach, is by use of the engineering design itself, in the past, industry was just selecting containers or closures and trying to assemble them together. Well, today, we are looking at how they really fit together, use of modeling, use of statistics, science in determining variability, and the capability to ensure that we detect the critical dimensions or the attributes that needs to be selected and controlled all the time to ensure integrity with high probability is key to this development. So these attributes don't need to be tested, but they can be really modeled into a system. Industry is still buying separate individual components from different vendors, but now industry is paying more attention at how these components are designed to fit or not to fit together. So this is a significant advancement in this risk mitigation failure mode.
I would like to thank all of you for providing this brief overview. These topics are going to be discussed further, as well as other topics at the conferences, and the PDA, FDA container closure and glass packaging events, as a reminder, are scheduled for May 14th through 16th at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Bethesda, Maryland, and you can learn more about that at pda.org.